Well, it's a new year. New things are happening. And what would you think about an elder being in the pulpit on the second Sunday in January? Well, the elders have something they want to say to you this morning. And when we met and talked about it and what I was going to say, they all looked at me. So I'm here and I'm going to do what I can to present the lesson. I just can't help myself though, and I promised myself I wouldn't do it, and now I'm doing it. And that's telling a story, and I want to tell you the story of the hard work that's been going on behind the scenes to improve our audio-visual system, the computers. And that's why Jerry's not here being the noble daddy that he always is because he's back there in the sound booth because he's been threatened of his life if this slide doesn't go good. And so our goal, and this is something we didn't talk about, I didn't put it in a sermon, but our goal is to get these sermons on the web page, to stream them live, because last Sunday Brother Webb wasn't able to be here, and he missed the opportunity to turn on his computer and hear what Bobby had to say in real time. So we're working on that. We think it's a worthwhile endeavor, and particularly as we think about our shut-ins and those that need encouragement. There's nothing like a word from home. And there are many people that are not here this morning because of sickness, and people that are far away that consider Millersville their home. Thank you, Brent. So keep that in mind. Now, I hope you're impressed with this slide that you see. It's a little different. Somebody's going to look at that and say, what did you do to the M? It looks funny. Well, think of the trail that goes through the mountain, and the M is the mountain. Think of the phrase right under that. If you look at your bulletin, you see it as it really is. The Millersville Church of Christ, and down under that, following Jesus together. And so we're following Jesus on the trail from earth to heaven. Here at Millersville, we have no other creed, we have no other way but the way of Jesus. And that's the way we're going to follow, because we know He did the will of the Father and was glorified and exalted and is now at the right hand of God. And we believe that if we will do what Jesus did, submit to the Father, follow His Father's will, do the will of the Father throughout our lives, that in that great and notable day of the Lord, that we will be exalted above measure and called to meet the Lord in the air, and there to be forever with the Lord. And I hope that you share that great anticipation this morning as we talk about some things relative to following Jesus together. When you turn to Matthew chapter 6, it's a very interesting passage in that we see that crazy Peter. In verse 21, read with me, please. From that time, Jesus began to show His disciples that He must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things from the elders and the chief priests and the scribes, and be killed and raised again the third day. Now watch this. Then Peter took Jesus aside and began to rebuke Him, saying, Far be it from you, Lord, this shall not happen to you. And He turned and He said to Peter, Get behind me, Satan. You are an offense to me, for you are not mindful of the things of God, but the things of men. Then Jesus said to His disciples, If anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. This morning I want to talk to you about what it means to take up your cross. Peter was rebuked by Jesus. In fact, though, Peter And I want you to see the gotcha right there. We're all here this morning, but are we here for the right reason? Are we carnally minded or are we spiritually minded? Jesus saw the heart of Peter and was able to make that statement. Peter's intentions seemed to be good, but in reality, he was short-sighted. And he could not receive the notion that Jesus would be killed and raised the third day. But you see, Jesus had to be humiliated, and he had to be so glorious. But this was beyond Peter's comprehension. The root of Peter's problem was the carnal mind. He had not developed into that spiritual mind that we all strive for. The spiritual mind could fully understand and fully fathom what Jesus would suffer for the benefit of mankind. By comparison, we want to develop that in our spiritual mind. We want to grow like Jesus wants us to grow. And today we want to better understand what it means to follow Jesus together, as we see in our logo. And the Bible guides us very well in this great endeavor. Very well, it guides us. The Bible, as we say, as we follow Jesus together, we learn what it means and we begin to think about what we do together. As we consider our effort, we turn to 1 Corinthians chapter 12, and we'll read there as Paul helps the brethren at Corinth learn how to get along together. You notice as we read from 1 Corinthians 12, 24 through 25, he says, "But our presentable parts have no need. But God composed the body, having given greater honor to the parts which lacks it, that there should be no schism in the body, but that the members should have the same care one of another." I want you to think about this for just a moment. I want you to think about the fact that he said that he teaches teamwork. He says we bestow greater honor on those less honorable parts of the body in verse 23. But he said that there should be no schism or division in the body. He teaches that this division can come if we're not doing what we need to be doing on the team. No schism means no division. When we think of no division, we think of the condition that's contrary to that which was designed for the local congregation. That is, in the local church, we must temper the body together. Temper the body together. Now, some of you who are in agriculture understand, or steel workers, understand what temper means. And when we talk about temper, we understand that the temper, we heat the metal and we cool it just right so that the steel will be hard. You used to go to the hardware store and you'd buy a true temper shovel made right here in Nashville. A good lawnmower blade is tempered stronger than a cheap lawnmower blade. The body of Christ has to be tempered. And the rationale behind that is that together we're stronger. Now, we're all here this morning as individuals to worship and be edified. However, we must understand that that team success has to be greater than our own success. And as we follow Jesus together, I'm reminded of those TV ads where the Downs children are running and one falls and they all stop and they all go across the finish line together. It thrills my soul to see that and to see the opportunities. This is how that teamwork is developed, is understanding this. Personal sacrifice, then, must be encouraged and it must be rewarded. Teamwork means personal sacrifice. This is how the team is developed. And we'll get into some of that in just a few moments. The thing that is so nice about this, and I learned it, it's not new with me, I learned it from John Maxwell in his little book, Leadership Promises for Every Days. And what he said was so profound. And in the sports world, you sports nuts can understand this. Individual players get trophies. It's the team that gets the pennant. We need to think in terms of what the team does. We understand that groups do well when we all recognize the abilities of all of our members. I'll call your attention now to Romans chapter 12. And from verse 6. And if you look in your Bible, when you turn to Romans chapter 12 and verse 6, it points you right back to 1 Corinthians. Interesting. But notice what he says. Having then gifts differing according to the grace that is given to us, let us use them. If prophecy, let us prophesy in proportion to our faith. Or ministry, let us use it in our ministering. Who teaches, let him teach. He who exhorts in exhortation, he who gives with liberality, he who leads with diligence, he who shows mercy with cheerfulness. Now, in these two short verses, we have the essence of what a team plan needs to be. And we need to work together as the team. Notice, as we think about working together with the team. Prophecy. Prophecy, then, is to challenge or to declare God's truth and call for action. Notice what Jesus did. He said, if you want to follow me, deny yourself and follow me. There's your call for action. You're instructed to do something. And so prophecy is declaring God's word and also issuing a call to action. Time and again in the sermons that you read in the New Testament, the preacher summed it up. In Acts chapter 2 and verse 38, what do we do? And Peter said, repent every one of you and be baptized in the name of Jesus Christ for the remission of your sins. There's the challenge, and then there's the order. My prayer is this morning that you can be challenged and that you can be ordered. That you will see the need to do what needs to be done. He talks about service or ministry. Ministering is to serve others and to do it cheerfully. It's rooted in the admonition that Jesus gave the rich young ruler in Matthew chapter 19 when, he said, all of these things I've kept from my youth up. And he said, what lack I yet? And he told him to sell what you have. And he said, thou shalt love thy neighbor yourself. In Galatians chapter 5 and verse 13, he says, for brethren, you have not been called to liberty, only do not use liberty as an opportunity of the flesh. There's that carnal mind again. But through love, serve one another. This is rooted in what Jesus said. to the rich young ruler in Matthew chapter 19. There's a lot of wonderful things that we all can do, but if we don't have love in our heart for the Lord and our love in our heart for the people that we worship with, who glorify God with us, we're wasting our time. We're self-serving. And we can't be that way as we strive to please God. In the next point, he encourages us to exhort. An exhortation is to encourage, to strengthen, and to inspire others. Over back in Romans chapter 8, in verse 21, he says there, he says, "For the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it in hope, because the creation itself will be delivered from the bondage of corruption and into the glorious liberty of the children of God." Edification, exhortation, there's something to look forward to. There's the need to be strengthened. This call to action is a part of what we do. But as far as really encouraging and exhorting one another in an everyday kind of sense, there's the opportunities that we have to speak to a wayward brother or sister. There's the opportunity to compliment the sermon, to compliment the prayer, to think, to pray for someone, or taking time to preach the gospel, or to teach a Bible class, a private meeting like I'm talking about, in your home, or at the coffee shop, or at Hardee's over a cup of coffee, whatever it is you do. Think of ways that you can make noise for the gospel of Christ and do the things that are pleasing in His sight. As we continue, we see that we must give generously. That is, share what's been given with us. Giving is the resource that we all have, whether it's time, talents, or money. God expects us to do this and to be organized in this effort. There's a lot of things that we do here at Millersville that require some degree of organization. Servant leaders oversee the work of the local congregation. But as any team should do, it has to move forward. In the football world, you can't win, you can't move forward unless you have the ball. We're not going to move forward unless we're doing the will of Jesus Christ. And we have the will of Jesus. The thing we have to do is learn how to apply it in everyday sense and move forward. And that's our responsibility. In verse 14, he says, as we go on, he says, "Rejoice with those who rejoice, and weep with those who weep. Be of the same mind one of another." We have to learn what it means to be merciful. Learn what it means to empathize and cheer and show compassion to those who hurt. We have a number of those in this congregation that do that are like that. And empathize has to do with the capacity to participate in another's feelings. Think about that. To participate in another's feelings or ideas. You know, that is the root of fellowship. Compassion is sympathetic consciousness of others' distresses with the aim in mind to alleviate it. And we're not talking about somebody that's home in the bed and sick and can't get up. We're talking about people who are on the path, on that path, following Jesus. Like in Galatians chapter 6 and verse 1. Maybe there's a brother overtaken in a fault. Ye which are spiritual are to restore such an one. responsibilities, and Paul emphasizes these time and time again. Now I want to digress, if you will, for just a moment, and talk about some things that are special to this congregation. And those of you who are visiting with us, you get to be here too, and we hope you come back and see what happens to all of these things. This year, we're going to have a VBS, a Vacation Bible School, June the 5th through the 9th. Participation is essential. Participation is essential. As we think about the future of the congregation here at Millersville, as we think about those manageable, malleable minds that are, most of those in that picture have malleable minds. There may be some hard-headed ones, I'm not sure, but mostly they're malleable. They're malleable, and their minds must be molded so that they remember and have pleasant thoughts about their service in the kingdom of the Lord. Their minds must be molded to follow Jesus. Seeds that are planted in these endeavors are the seeds that grow and will never, ever be forgotten. And when you look at this picture, we're not all the same age, are we? You see, the group is moving, and we're not all the same age, but we're all enthusiastic. But we need teachers, and we need helpers to sign up to help make this a success. And we hope and pray that you will be so inclined as the sign-up sheets out there in the vestibule. It's our future. We need to make the most of it. During the summer quarter, we're going to have our summer series. We're going to have Wednesday night lessons through the summer quarter. And then, as we did the last time, we will discuss the sermon on our Sunday morning Bible study time. This will be through July through September. Participation is essential. Last time we had a series, we had a lot of young preachers. And your heart it just swells to see children that you are young men who you knew as a child so ably fill the pulpit. I challenge you to make your plans for Wednesday nights through the summer quarter to do that. We also, as we think about the work here at Millersville, we think about our Bible classes. Our Bible classes. We have worked so hard to develop a Bible class program that is above all else. And I commend those of you who teach the little children in our Spiritual Heritage series. I commend those of you adults men who take time to teach the classes that help us grow spiritually. I want you to look at this third line. John Hunt and the elders have worked together to prepare class topics through 2018. Webb and I tried for 15 years to get that done, and we didn't have enough sense. But John's a mathematician, I guess. I don't know what he is. He just keeps going. And thank you to all of you who graciously don't run and hide when he comes to ask you to teach a class. Thank you. We're taking it seriously, and I hope and pray that you will take this seriously as we endeavor to follow Jesus together. Participation is essential. Participation is essential, and we talked about leadership a moment ago, and now it's time for me to talk about elders and deacons. We can't function without servant leaders. And I say that in every sense of the word. We thank you for your respect. We thank you for your prayers. We thank you for every word grace of God and prayer and forgiveness, we can keep going. And I want you to know how much that we care about this congregation. And one reason our congregation is so successful is because of the servant leadership. Now, I'm not bragging. We recognize that our goal is to serve the Lord, and our responsibility is for you to be spiritually fed and leave here without a case of spiritual indigestion. And that's so important. But if I live many more years, I'm going to be older than Leslie Webb. So guess what? We need young men to step up. We need men to step up and think about the eldership, to think about serving as deacons. And I know what I'm going to hear. It's nay. But it's not that way. Don't wait to be asked. This is not a social club. This is a team. Don't you ever go to football games? You go to football games, and you see those guys sitting on the bench. I went and watched Will play football, and there was one play that he didn't get to work, and he's sitting on the bench just like a young bull, dragging that foot, just waiting to get out there and do something for the benefit of the team. You think you'd like to serve. Just because you think you'd like to serve doesn't mean that you have to serve today. But you need to let somebody know that you would like to serve. You need to come and talk to the elders about it. Maybe you think you're not qualified to serve. That's something else where you need to come and talk to the elders about it so we can work together as a team to help you get qualified, to help you be ready for the very, very, very necessary work of this congregation. We can't do it without servant leaders. We can't do it. If you think you're not qualified to serve, then please take a moment. Take some time to come see one of the elders. And I know that if anybody says, I think we ought to have Meals on Wheels at Millersville, then all of a sudden you get to be the chairman of the board of Meals and Wheels. Well, we don't play that way here. We don't play that way here. Participation is essential. We spent a lot of time and money over the years trying to get the building paid for, but it's absolutely important that we get above paying for this building. We need to pay for the building, don't get me wrong, but there's other work that needs to be done. We need to pray for, support, and encourage Alan in his work in Southeast Asia. He's a better man than I am. I wouldn't do it. I don't have it, but he does. You see how the team plays? He can. And I freely admit, I can't. We support Tim McPherson in the Salt Lake City area, and he does mission work out there. And I've got a lot of friends out there in Mormon land, but I don't feel a bit, he's got a hard job too. He's got a hard job, but he's very enthusiastic and very energetic. He sends us reports, and I urge you to get those reports and read those reports. We also are taking seriously the mission work that has to be done right here in Sumner County, Tennessee, in our area. And we have, as of first of the year, agreed to support Keith Hagewood in mission efforts. And he's going to work with us in our various outreach programs as we go along and help us do what we can in the kingdom of the Lord. And we'll talk more about that later on. But what does this mean? What does this mean? Well, let's look at Luke chapter 22. In verse 41, Jesus is about to be taken and crucified. In verse 41, the Bible says in Luke 22:41, and he was withdrawn from them about a stone's throw away, and he knelt down and he prayed. He said, Father, if it is your will, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done. Then an angel appeared to him from heaven, strengthening him. And being in agony, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat became like great drops of blood falling down to the ground. I want you to think for just a moment where Jesus found himself. I want you to put yourself in Jesus' place. Put yourself in Jesus' place and realize what he was up against. The human side of Jesus really didn't want to do this. But the spiritual side of Jesus said, I really need to do this. And in this effort, Jesus manifested great discipline. He prayed to his Father and finally said, Thy will be done. He could have ran and hid himself in a cave. He had successfully avoided his detractors before. I have every reason to believe that with the likes of Peter and the other apostles, they were pretty sharp. They could have hidden him if they wanted to. But Jesus wouldn't have any part of it. He was disciplined because he really wanted to do the Father's will. He really wanted to do the Father's will. Jesus was disciplined in his thinking and keeping his mind active about what the prize was, what he needed to do. And all of these events that we've talked about back in Romans as it relates to us, these events help us keep our minds sharp. And we have to understand that in this effort that we do together, that we have to discipline our emotions. If we don't master our emotions will master us. In the very beginning we said, Jesus said, if any man will come after me, he must deny himself. That means turn your back on yourself. Turn your face toward Jesus and see what he wants you to do. And that sounds hard. That sounds difficult. But we've got to do it. If we don't, they will our wants and our wishes and our desires, like Peter, overburdened with the carnal mind, earned the scorn of Jesus. And we don't want Jesus saying, get thee behind me, Satan. What an insult. What a humiliation. Disciplined emotions are so important. Disciplined action is the action that separates winners from losers. So I'll share with you what Leroy read in Hebrews chapter 12. Since we are so surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin that so easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. When you turn back to chapter 11, can you imagine any of those faithful of old looking for that city, deciding not to do it? I just have never imagined it. How can we imagine it? And as we serve the Lord here at Millersville, can we imagine looking back? Can we imagine looking back? I hope something that's been said or done that will help you understand the seriousness of this endeavor, the earnestness of our action together as we serve the Lord. And if it has touched you, maybe it's time for a call to action. And that call to action is simply, will you follow Jesus? Together with the rest of us here at Millersville. And if you're not a Christian, the first thing you need to do is to discipline yourself to obey the gospel and be buried in the watery grave of baptism for the remission of your sins. Arise to walk in newness of life and leave this building a child of God, looking forward to the time when you will be exalted with all the saved people. But maybe, as a Christian, you're like Peter. You've let the carnal mind take hold and cause you to do things that you shouldn't do, or say things that you shouldn't say, or not be the kind of influence among your brethren that you need to be, and you need the prayers of the saints here at Millersville. We'll be happy to help you in any way that we can, because we love you and we care about your soul's condition. Brent's going to lead us in an invitation song, and if you have any needs, come right now while we stand and while we sing. Have thine own way, Lord, have thine own way.